And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what? It's another Friday. It's time for some game news discussion. Welcome to the NPCs Weekly News Roundup live stream. It is October 2nd, 2020. My name is Travis, and of course via Discord, because the world is still on fire, both forests and the pandemic, and the fact that we got new video games always dropping and nobody wants to leave their house anymore. I got Kyle with me on Discord. So Kyle, again, good evening.
Yeah, what's up? I'm still here.
You are. You are still alive, fortunately. Otherwise, if I did this on my own, it'd probably be rather boring. So thank you for still being alive to do this with me. Anyway, so tonight's roundup, of course, we've got new fighters added to Super Smash Brothers. Rather interesting ones and ones I'm excited for. We've got Apex Legends crossplay just on the horizon here soon, too. We've got an official date as well for the EA Play being added to Game Pass. And we've actually got some really neat stuff to talk about in the world of health. So I'm going to go ahead and roll our intro, and we're going to get things started. All right, so let's go ahead and hop in here to our first story, and this is actually a big one, is the announcement of a new Super Smash Brothers fighter, or actually fighters. And I'm going to go ahead and just actually roll the official trailer here for our new Smash fighters, which, just make it simple enough now. Welcome, Steve, Alex, Zombie, and Enderman from Minecraft to Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Kyle, I think there's been kind of some speculation that we were going to be seeing Minecraft characters actually coming along this way here probably pretty quick, but or at least there's been talk about it for a little while, but we're just on the cusp of the Minecraft Live, the virtual convention, so I guess the timing is actually pretty good for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, and especially you think about it, Minecraft is like, I think the #1 selling game in the world.
I'm sure you're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, this was totally inevitable eventually. It's a little bizarre to see him there because of his pixelated blockiness, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, this will be an interesting one, I think.
No, I agree. But I got to tell you, by far, though, like this trailer here, like actually like just this little bit with the creeper sneaking up behind Mario was just perfect. I think it was just it actually, I got a good kick out of it. But I think it's neat to actually see him added. It's just, it's bizarre to see some of the moves in that, though, too. Just some things don't seem to make sense too much, though. But I guess it looks all right.
I don't know. I wonder how this character is going to be balanced out. I see, like, especially if some of those techniques are real, like being able to build up around a character, like that could possibly need to get like nerfed quick.
Yeah, that could very well be part of it. I think the funny part, though, especially, is that we've got another sword fighter technically.
Yes and no. I think the sword is kind of more of a secondary weapon for him. I don't know. So is the zombie like a reskin, or are all these characters like unique one-off characters?
So it makes me think that Steve and Alex, or at least Steve, is going to be a separate character, and you can switch skins from Steve to Alex to some of the other like default skins you get in Minecraft, and then Zombie's going to be his own, and then Enderman will be their own too, without any actual like probably like skin changes. Maybe like the Enderman might change eye color or something. But I don't actually know. There's supposed to be more details at Minecraft Live I don't know if it's this weekend or next week, but we're coming up very close to it, though, too. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's interesting,
and of course, you know, the ending of the trailer, I'm assuming that that's going to be his ultimate smash is building a house.
Actually, no, that the building a house part here that you see is the celebration for when he wins a match.
Really?
Yeah, so if I actually, like, if we scroll back, let me see if I can actually find the time here. His ultimate smash is actually spawning a giant piston. Yeah. So that's at about the 2-minute 30-second mark if you want to go back to it on the video if you have it up there. But yeah, you're talking, his ultimate smash is going to be the piston, which I think is actually still kind of, it's kind of funny. I'm sure there are a couple other things. Like, I expected maybe more emphasis on, like, TNT being an example.
That's what I would think, too.
I mean, I guess the piston enough, it's got to be something that has, like, maybe TNT will be another one later on, like a new ultimate or something. Like, maybe you can change it out. So instead you drop TNT and then anybody around it ends up, they blow up and they end up going off the screen. Or
well, I mean, it did seem like TNT is going to be like a major skill of his.
Or better yet,
I don't know.
Or better yet, an ultimate could instead be it could come up and say now enabled creative mode, and then you see Steve floating up above the world in that and just spawning like every single piece of TNT he possibly can.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
See, that would be cool. I could deal with that. I think that would actually be a pretty neat ultimate. So, Sakurai, you need to get on that, please. I know as busy as you've been, I think you need to go ahead and take this as fact and get that going now. So, thanks for listening.
I don't know. I don't think he would be destructive in that manner because he did talk kind of in depth about some of his Minecraft worlds, and they're pretty detailed, so...
True. Yes, he did. But really, though, I don't know exactly what else we're to expect of this. Again, we got Minecraft Live. I can't remember if it's this weekend or if it's in the next or this next week. But there's supposed to be more details actually coming out. And one question that a lot of people have been asking is, what's it going to look like when Kirby actually swallows Steve or Alex?
I bet he'll be like square.
I bet you, yeah. Or I bet you be a cube.
Maybe he'll look like 8-bit Kirby. Like, he won't be quite round,
By the way, I'm kind of regretting the fact that I said swallows Steve. I'm very frustrated that I just said that, and that's now recorded and live, and I can't do anything about it, so I'm sorry.
You did say that.
Yep. And yes, Alex, you were right. There was that Super Mario pack for Minecraft on Wii U some years ago. Yep, that's right. So it was kind of coming up, of course, because I think that Minecraft was first released or for on Nintendo consoles and that on the Wii U and then subsequently the 3DS as well too, because Minecraft is everywhere. But yeah, new fighters coming down the line. Of course, I'm actually really excited to pick up this fighter pack, especially as DLC. I haven't bought any of the others, but the kids and I like Minecraft, so this will definitely be one to pick up and beat each other up to for sure. But yeah, back to your earlier question, though, especially on the balancing part, it's going to be interesting to see, though, too, because you're talking about kind of a mixed bag of how damage is actually dealt, too, because you saw in there, like the actual drop, the actual drop ability itself is actually, like, falling down on an anvil. It looks like the jump ability itself is just to jump on different blocks that you spawn underneath yourself.
Like his zone, like his down B zoning move was... bucket of lava on each side.
Yeah, and it also makes me wonder, like, if he's jumping, if Steve or Alex are jumping and they're placing blocks underneath themselves, does it actually create a wall so that way other fighters can't get around it and you could possibly pin somebody in there too?
That's kind of what I was looking at, because it looked like they did that to, is it Pichu?
Not
in the trailer?
Sure. I don't know. It looked like
Yeah,
that.
it's one of the Pokemon characters, but I don't know if that was actually in a level or if that's just kind of them showing off the Minecraft characters. So.
Okay. Very interesting. I'll have to go back and rewatch
Might be
the trailer.
worth going back and looking at, but yeah. Still really interesting. I don't know. I guess it had been in the works for they were saying like 5 years now.
What, to add Minecraft to Smash?
Yes.
Wow, 5 years.
That's what I've been reading everywhere.
I wonder if it's just the mix-up.
5 years in the making.
I wonder if it's just because of the mix-up with Mojang being bought by Microsoft that really kind of led into the chaos of it. And now, of course, we've got, first we got Banjo-Kazooie on Smash first. I think they were like they were an earlier fighter add-on anyway, but we got them first, and I think maybe that helped to develop the relationship, especially because Rare being owned by Microsoft kind of hopefully opened that door. And since we got new changes to Minecraft, and that makes me almost wonder if we're going to have more changes to Minecraft for the Switch coming up here soon too, like maybe some exclusivity stuff. But Who knows?
It's a possibility.
Yeah, we'll find out when Minecraft Live happens. Again, it's either tomorrow, like this weekend, or it's this next week. We'll have to get back to you, of course, in next week's news and let you know what's going on there. Anyway, moving on to the second story here, and this one's actually a little bit of a sad one for some people I do know. And unfortunately, Warcraft's next expansion, Shadowlands, has been delayed. So let's take a look here at this story from Polygon. World of Warcraft's next expansion, Shadowlands, has been delayed. There is no new release date for the expansion. So, of course, there's been announcements across the board. A lot of the dev team from WoW over at Blizzard has actually been commenting and saying it's like, we appreciate the extra support. We appreciate the actual higher ups having our back to be able to at least delay this a little bit longer to make things better. But from this official post that they actually put up, it says, over the past several months of testing, we've made significant progress iterating on and polishing the core features and gameplay of Shadowlands. We're at a point where the zones, the campaign, the level up questing experience, and the story we have to tell are essentially ready to share. However, as everything started coming together and we've been listening to and building upon your feedback, it's become clear we need a little more time for additional polish and to balance and iterate on some interlocking pieces, particularly those related to the end game. So the game's not going to release on the 27th now, Kyle. But what they're saying, though, instead is that they're actually going to be doing a pre-game patch here. It looks like they're going to include the new player experience of Exile's Reach, new character customization options as well. So we've got a little bit of time here, actually, before we see something, in the world of Warcraft. And I don't know if you were going to try to touch this one or not. I can't remember if you were one of the ones who had actually played WoW out of all of us.
I have
or at least
not.
At one point.
I have no desire to play World of Warcraft.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's perfectly fair. Though,
I mean, I like Warcraft 3. I don't know. I could never get into the Warcraft idea. Like there have been a few MMOs that I've been big into, I guess. Maybe not nearly as big as some Warcraft players, but I stuck around for a year, 2 years, so on and so forth. But couldn't get into it.
I played it back when Burning Crusade had dropped. I didn't play it from the start. I ended up having a friend who said, "Oh, you got to play this with me. You got to go try this out." So I ended up picking up a 2-pack with the base World of Warcraft and then Burning Crusade, which was the first expansion, and ended up playing that for I think about 6 months solid, and then I just got tired of it. I think it was just the repetitiveness of trying to actually play and not actually having anybody online to play with that I knew. Because my friend went and pushed me to go and play it, but he was never online at the times I could be online too. So that was a bit of a pain in the ass. But
right.
Yeah. So it's just a shame kind of that we're at this point now, though, that we've got a delay, of course, on this game with everybody kind of still being home right now because of the pandemic. This is another one of those games that can definitely eat into a lot of time. But, or at least, offer that where you don't have to leave. It's something you can hop into quick, do a couple quests, go right back into work, once you're done with your break. So it is what it is, unfortunately, with this, and in the new normal of where we're at, we're going to have to expect more of these delays anyway, too. So, oh well. It's all right, Shadowlands. We'll definitely see you here,
eventually.
Yeah, eventually. So let's go ahead and hop into our next story here, Kyle, and I'm going to let you talk about this one while I play the actual video that goes along with this. This article comes to us from Games Radar, and it's talking about Marvel's Spider-Man comparison video gives you a look at the jump from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. So before you start reading this, Kyle, I'm going to jump over here to the actual video and read kind of the disclaimer here on this, at least for our audience right now, that says, the following video has been made with promotional content from the PlayStation. The PS5 version is still in development and is subject to change. The gameplay shown corresponds to the performance mode. So this is specifically looking at the PlayStation 5 performance mode, which offers at least a little bit, or offers more power to actually improve the quality of the game too. So Kyle, go ahead and talk about that article. I'll get this video going.
Okay, so YouTuber L Analista D Bits has created a Marvel's Spider-Man remaster video where you can see a clear comparison between the remaster on PS5 to the PS4 version running on the PS4 Pro. The comparison video comes hot on the web, slinging heels of released Marvel's Spider-Man remastered performance footage Insomniac revealed yesterday. As spotted by Push Square, the video compares footage captured in the PS5 performance mode with the same sequences and areas shown in-game on the PS4 Pro. With graphical enhancements to make the use of the PS5's hardware capabilities, the remastered version is set to improve on features such as draw distance, which you can see an example of in the comparison. This means you'll be able to see more buildings and pedestrians in the distance than on the original version. Along with ray tracing reflections, ambient shadows, and improving lighting, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered also introduces a next-gen Peter Parker with the reveal of a new face for the friendly neighborhood superhero. The video shows that the new Peter compared with the original during cutscenes, while the face, of course, is the major noticeable difference. You can also see changes to the lighting between scenes and more detailed, realistic-looking reflections on glass bottles. L. Annalista Debits also notes that the ambient tones of the remaster appear somewhat grayer than the original version, and you can certainly see a bit of a difference between the two versions of Peter's as Peter swings over a construction site in New York. Overall, the remaster looks cleaner and more refined, and the video is a greater way of seeing the jump from the PS4 Pro to the PS5 in terms of graphical improvements.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to admit, the first time I saw the video, the new footage, I was a little shocked at the new Peter.
Yeah, and it's funny that you're talking about that because we're actually at that point now too. But yeah, his full model changed, so he's got like his skin is a lot smoother. And he's younger. He definitely it feels more like they actually modeled Tom Holland's face a little bit into this, which I don't get. I feel like it's actually a step down. Like if I actually go back here to this, if I actually go back here to this and look at it right now, bring my camera back online, of course, too, because the actual English part of this is on the right-hand side. But yeah, I feel like it was a step back. For some reason,
So do I.
I don't like
it. I know you haven't actually gotten a chance to play the game, but I feel like the Peter that we played in the PS4 version that you play in Marvel Spider-Man on the PlayStation is supposed to be more of a Spider-Man that's seen some shit. I mean, you've already got I want to say, if I remember right, because it's been a bit. It was earlier this year that I played. The game starts out with a chunk of the Sinister Six in prison.
Okay.
So
yeah,
I mean,
you'd expect this to be
he's
Spider-Man
already,
down the line.
you know, yeah, he's already been at the Spider-Man game for a while. So I feel like that version of Peter seems truer to what we would be playing, whereas the PS5 version, he seems too green.
Yeah, it seems more like someone who's just kind of discovered their powers in the last couple months and is still working through the kinks and the chaos that is, becoming Spider-Man. So yeah, I'm looking at this here, and even PJ on chat says the same thing, says, interesting. At first I didn't like the PS4 Peter, but he really did kind of grow on me. The new guy it's modeled on does look more like Tom Holland, torn on this. And yeah, I really see here, PJ, more of the, I think both of us can agree. I haven't played Spider-Man. I've watched a lot of footage, though, and I know Preston's played it, Kyle's played it, and of course both of them have beat it. But I do actually appreciate more of the PlayStation 4 version to the PlayStation 5, and I kind of hope that we actually see them maybe take this feedback and go back to the old model for the remaster, unless it's too late.
I guess here's the big thing for me. The PS5 version, he doesn't look like he can be a mentor. And at the end of the game, you really are supposed to be a mentor.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
So, I don't know. That's just my input on it, but
okay.
Who knows? Maybe they will change it a little bit. Maybe this is the final product. At any rate, it's still Spider-Man. I'll probably replay it when I get the new console. So
okay. Yeah, and like I said, it's one that's on my list to play when I can actually get my hands on a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. But again, because of the $500 already now down for the Xbox Series X, that's probably going to be a long time coming unless PlayStation Now happens to be more attractive to throw that on, or a PC release. But
Hmm.
maybe not. Let's move on here to our next story. And this one actually is really cool to talk about, especially because it delves into the medical side of things and how video games can help out there too. So let's talk about this story here. This is actually from Medical Express. This is a news journal out of the United Kingdom, and it's actually talking about simple enough playing video games helps stroke recovery. Article goes on to say a genius game controller helping stroke patients get back hand and arm movement by playing on the computer is set to start tests in a stroke unit. 1.5 million Brits have a stroke, and 70% of them get weakness in their hands and arms, leaving many unable to even make a cup of tea or get dressed. The Neuroball is shown to help people regain strength and movement in their arms and hands after a stroke by making dull daily rehab exercises more fun. Now, makers Brunel University London and UK firm Neurophoenix have won £60,000 from the Stroke. I assume that's probably Stroke Association, maybe, or Stoke Association. I don't know. In Med City to take development to the next level. Neurophoenix and Brunel University London will explore how this new handheld console and app could improve the recovery of hand and arm movement at vital earlier stages of recovery, said Dr. Richard Francis, head of research awards at the Stroke Association. Yep, the article got that part wrong. They will look at whether the new technology can be cost effective for the NHS, which the NHS is the health sector, basically the Department of Health for the United Kingdom. National Health Services, I think, is what it is. But yeah, the actual controller itself kind of looks pretty neat here, though. It looks more like a when the video comes up, it's a very interesting looking, almost like a ball mouse is the way I would describe it more than anything.
Now, I could see this. I could see this as a plug-in for the adaptive controller.
See, that would actually be really handy, especially for those who have that limited mobility too. Because, I mean, even with this being used as something for like health, I don't want to detract away from the health, because I think this is a great thing, especially because my family, especially my wife's side, was impacted by one of her family members was impacted by actually 2 strokes here in the last 5 or 6 years now, unfortunately. And so this is definitely something interesting to see and kind of come up with it. But I can actually see this still being used for even other things, like, say, especially like VR as an example. I think would be a good one. I think the adaptive controller attachment is also going to be really great too, if that's something that can be carried over, because I'm guessing it's either using some sort of wireless connection or a USB connection. It looks like from the video right now, we're not seeing anything USB related, but, the fact that it actually gets you to move around a little bit more with it might actually lend to something VR related down the line, though, too. But it is actually really cool, though, to see that, as we progress on in the video game world, that video games aren't just for taking a break, sitting back and enjoying a good story, shooting up some people digitally, of course. This at least gives people who may not play video games and have suffered from something like this the ability to actually recover in a different way. So it does look really cool, though. I think it's actually going to be something to keep an eye out on for sure, to see if it might be something that could be brought to the United States too. But it definitely looks like it's going to be a very interesting one to help out those who have suffered from a stroke. And even a couple games here too, they're rudimentary. They look like a Flash game that you and I, Kyle, probably would have played in junior high. So it's
Right.
But that's the whole point, is that it's supposed to be easy enough, at least for the person playing the game, to understand like what they're doing, while at the same time offering the rehabilitation. So I actually think that this is really cool, and I'm glad to see, again, more emphasis on gaming doing something more than just being for leisure. So this is, I think, a great movement forward.
Well, and what an interesting way to take very rudimentary, dull exercises and make them slightly interesting, to help with the recovery. So.
Exactly. It offers a little bit more fun instead of being in some sort of recovery room doing something like with a ball or, a walking stick or something to kind of get that range of motion back. This is something different. It offers variety too. So I think that's really cool. Uh, yeah. So that's actually gonna be really neat to see. And again, I really hope we do actually see it come here to the United States. But until that time, we carry on, and we've got ourselves another interesting one because, of course, Stadia cannot, I repeat, cannot stay out of the tech news here because it's just that much of a pain in the ass. So, Kyle, you need to talk to us about this one. At least I think you should. Yes. You know what? I made the
Oh
decision. You're
yeah,
going
I
to.
was so I I don't know. I was laughing when I heard this one this
I know,
morning.
because I actually watched I watched the announcement for this thing, and then I was like wondering, hey, that's gonna be kind of cool. And then as soon as I heard the rest of it, like after the fact, I was like, oh. So let's just hop right into it. As you can see here from the screenshot, we're going to be talking about the new Chromecast with Google TV. So this story comes to us from The Verge. The new Chromecast with Google TV won't officially support Stadia at launch. The game streaming service will be supported in the first half of 2021. Kyle, more Stadia problems. Tell us, what exactly are we hearing now?
Well, Google's new $50 Chromecast with Google TV will support a lot of streaming services most people would want, although Apple TV Plus appears to be a notable holdout. Those
Mm-hmm.
sorts of gaps are fairly normal for a new platform, but the new Chromecast does have one very strange omission. Google's own game streaming service Stadia. At launch, the new Chromecast with Google TV won't support it. Google says support will come sometime in the first half of 2021. That said, we were able to get Stadia running on the Chromecast using loading, which means it's unclear why Stadia isn't supported on the new Chromecast. To get a place where we can speculate, we need to explain the different layers of operating systems and services at play on the Chromecast with Google TV. First, right now, Stadia is supported on current Chromecast Ultra, which is based on Google's original Chromecast platform. It doesn't have an interface on its own. It only takes streaming video from the internet as directed by your phone or on the Stadia controller. The new Chromecast with Google TV, by comparison, has several layers. At the base is Android TV, the operating system for the new Chromecast. It's what allows the new system to have a user interface that you can navigate over 6,500 apps on top of Android TV is new Google TV's interface, a Google-centric skin that pretties up Android TV. Finally, at the very top, there's Cast. You can still cast videos to your Android TV, just not Stadia games.
Ugh, shame.
Um, yeah, this is a big letdown. If we had to guess, and we kind of do, we'd say there are problems for Stadia in two of those three layers. Stadia does have an Android app for phones, but apparently an Android app for TVs is a different beast. You likely expect higher frame rates, higher resolution, and lower latency on your TV than your phone. Currently, Stadia does work on Android TV, but only in a very weird, tacked on way. It's still a shoehorned version of the phone UI that really isn't great for non touch screens, as Google's 9 to 5 Google Apply puts it. Latency may also be the reason that Stadia can't simply cast to the Chromecast at launch, since it runs on Android TV instead of the simpler OS and Chromecast Ultra. The new Chromecast with Google TV may introduce more latency in the game stream. Clearly, Google believes it can solve one of those problems and intends to do so in the next 9 months or so. What's confusing is why Google didn't solve them in the last 9 months before the release of its new flagship TV product that literally has the company's own name embedded in the branding. It's a weird one, but if you're a Stadia user, the bottom line is that you should stick with the Chromecast Ultra for the time being. You can still buy one as part of the $100 Stadia Premier Edition kit, in case you're wondering, but Google is no longer selling them separately.
Nope. I went and looked after I had heard about all this, and yep, the Chromecast Ultra which is the 4K version that, of course, supports Stadia. Yep, you cannot buy it separate unless one of the third-party retailers, Walmart, Amazon, Target, wherever you can find a Chromecast, if they have it, then you can buy it there. Otherwise, you want to play Stadia, you're going to need to buy the actual whole Premier Edition pack with the controller and the actual Ultra packed in. But
this is a huge oversight with Amazon.
How is it
recently announcing, what is it, Luna?
Yeah, this actually really kicks.
Yeah.
This really kicks Stadia down hard, and I think part of the issue we're going to see now is how fast is Google going to scramble to actually get Stadia working properly? Or is it the fact that anybody who's already adopted Stadia thus far, that's, I hate to say it, but it's like maybe that's it. Everybody who's actually in Stadia right now, playing games in Stadia regularly, maybe
Or
that's
still
it.
in Stadia.
Or still remains
Because
in
one of the
Stadia.
things you have to consider too with Stadia is you actually have to purchase the games as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this when we talked about the Luna thing. You're just going to be paying the fee. What is it? $5.99 a month is what they said, I believe, or $4.99 a month, and you'll just have access to the games.
Yeah, see, and that's just a shame. That's just a damn shame. And see, it's like, I'm surprised that nobody caught this, and that's why I was already, we talked about this, I think that Stadia doesn't have long left, I think, to live, especially when we see what
I think it's on
Luna's
its
going
last
to be.
leg.
Yeah, and I think this new dongle that actually is coming out, this guy over here, over my right shoulder on your left side, that really should have had the support baked into it from day one. It's not to say that it's like Android TV is necessarily bad. Their Android TV, or what's now being branded, of course, Google TV instead, because they're doing a whole lot of renaming, should be able to support it anyway, no matter what. But there is a whole other layer of complexity with that new operating system that does introduce problems, and it's just a surprise that it's something that didn't work out. However, one of the funny things, though, and it wasn't a part of this story, someone actually got their Xbox controller paired to their new Google TV, or their new Chromecast with Google TV, and was able to actually sideload Game Pass, excuse me. They were able to sideload Game Pass and actually play Game Pass through their Android TV or through their new Chromecast with Google TV, no problem.
And that's a big shot at Google right there.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a little bit of extra work because you can't just go find it on the actual Play Store. It's because it's an app developed for regular Android phones. It's not something that's just easily accessible. So if you know how to sideload applications, you can go through that and then sideload it, and you're able to actually play Xbox games that way. I was talking with my boss about this actually a couple of weeks ago when they announced the integration, or they released the integrated Game Pass and streaming app. And we were talking about him actually going and using an NVIDIA Shield here at some point to just sideload Game Pass and then just get a new Xbox Bluetooth controller with Bluetooth and then be able to play Xbox games on his TV without actually buying a whole new Xbox. I was like, that's exactly something I've been looking into myself as well. Because with just buying the Series X, and then, of course, we've got the Xbox One. The Xbox One is really more on its way out than anything. So why not actually have that other option on the other TV to still play Xbox games in one way or another, just without some, bulky console? Then I can get rid of my entertainment center here too. So it's, man, Google, you guys just don't know what to do. I love you guys to death. I love.
Aren't you glad you didn't adopt it now?
I was so gung-ho for it. I mean, we can go back through quite a few podcast episodes there back in August and September of last year before Stadia launched, and I was all gung-ho to go grab it, to start subscribing, to start playing on it. And now, man, I'm glad I put my money elsewhere. I'm glad I spent all that money at Taco Bell instead of on Stadia. That's important. But I don't know. I think when we see this new what is it, Luna is the name of Amazon's product? Yeah, when we see that one hit the ground running here in another few months, then I think that's going to end up being maybe a better option. But we won't know until we start seeing more reviews and actual usability of it. Because, again, Google has been around longer than Amazon, and Google should have had the hindsight's 2020 now, of course, but they should have had the foresight to understand, hey, we got to work on this integration. If we're going to discontinue this product, we've got to get it in with this other one too. But it's again, it's just an afterthought right now. So it'd be interesting to actually see if we hear about actual Stadia users again here soon, kind of like we heard with, only what, like 1,200 Destiny players at the beginning of this year. I think that was it.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, it was a very small
I know it
amount.
was really low.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's a very small amount for sure.
And it dropped even quicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's... Yeah, I think Stadia is going to be gone by next year. I think by middle of next year, unless they get themselves together, their act together, then yeah, that's a shame, but that's all right. Competition does that. Anyway, we could mourn about Stadia here all we want, or we can move on to the next story. So I'm going to move on to the next story actually here. And this story, actually, we are going to be talking about CD Projekt Red, because while sometimes it's a good thing they're in the news, sometimes it's not necessarily a good thing that they're in the news. So let's go ahead and hop right into it here, and this one's kind of a pain in the ass, especially. But Cyberpunk 2077 publisher orders 6-day weeks ahead of launch. So if anybody has heard about the dreaded crunch when it comes to developing video games, CD Projekt Red promised it wasn't going to happen. Guess what? It's happening. So the article, of course, came from 29th. Again, we're here on Bloomberg. It says Polish video game developer CD Projekt Red told employees on Monday that 6-day work weeks will be mandatory leading up to the November release of the highly anticipated Cyberpunk 2077, reneging on an earlier promise not to force overtime on the project. Red, a subsidiary of Poland's biggest gaming company, CD Projekt SA, has been criticized previously for engaging in crunch, an industry term for excessive overtime in game development. The practice often lasts for weeks and can stretch out for months or even years. CD Projekt Red co-chief executive officer Marcin Iwinski last year told gaming website Kotaku that the company would be avoiding mandatory crunch and was committed to allowing employees to work without overtime. But an account from a CD Projekt Red employee recently, as well as an email to staff earlier this week, indicate that the company hasn't lived up to its word. The employee, who asked to not be named, discussing private information, said some staff had already been putting in nights and weekends for more than a year. In the email, CD Projekt Red studio head Adam Badowski wrote that he was optimistic about the state of Cyberpunk 2077, which stars Keanu Reeves, and that they had just sent the game to be certified for release on Sony Corp's PlayStation and Microsoft Corp's Xbox. Now, he wrote, it was time to fix the game's many lingering bugs and glitches. Starting today, the entire studio is in overdrive, Badowski wrote, elaborating that this meant your typical amount of work and 1 day of the weekend. This extra work would be paid as required by Polish labor laws. Many other video game studios don't pay for overtime, and that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
I take it upon myself to receive the full backlash for this decision, he wrote. I know this is in direct opposition of what we said about crunch. It's also in direct opposition to what I personally grew to believe a while back. That crunch should never be an answer, but we've extended all other possible means of navigating the situation. In a post on Twitter Wednesday, Badowski said CD Projekt Red employees can continue to count on bonus payouts amounting to 10% of the company's annual profit. This could prove to be a lucrative sum, as analysts estimate that Warsaw-based company's net income will rise 11-fold to 2 billion zloty, or $520 million in 2020. CD Projekt Red had 1,079 employees at the end of June. Well, thanks, CD Projekt Red. Way to go ahead and buck the trend here with the industry, of course, saying you're not going to do it, but then, you're kicking the shit out of people here. But
I honestly have to say, though, they've been defensively saying for a long time now that there's not going to be crunch. There's not going to be crunch. We're going to push it back. We're going to push it back. I think there's been crunch for probably about a year now.
Like the article
and they're
said.
just admitting up to it. So I wonder what kind of crunch they're under now. If there was crunch for the last year.
Or the interesting question instead is if not everybody was under crunch, like what parts of the team were, because it's like if this is only just coming out now, and it's the fact that if it has been going on, like the article says, for a year now, if not just more, then how much of the team itself has been doing so. I'm grateful, of course, to at least read here that, Polish labor laws at least make it so that way overtime needs to be paid anyway. Of course, the company does do bonus payouts as well, too. But, for a lot of other companies, like the article went to say, here in the United States, it's a good example. A lot of those companies don't pay out for stuff. Legally they're supposed to pay for overtime, but I don't know. I don't work in the game industry like that, so I don't know exactly how to respond there.
Well, and there's lots of loopholes, I would imagine, too.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
I'm really sure there are. It's just, I don't know. It's a shame to see that because I'm really looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077, and I know a lot of people are. Like, did Witcher? Do you happen to know? Did The Witcher 3 have any crunch on it? I gotta imagine it did.
I didn't pay close enough attention to that one. But I'm sure that they had to have had crunch at some point.
Let's see. Admits crunch. Yeah, let's see here. So this article from May 2019 says, yeah. Says been working hard to ensure the staff working hard on Cyberpunk won't suffer levels of crunch the staff did on Witcher 3. Yeah, so they really reneged on this one here. I'm just trying to see if they actually have the time. Let's see. No, they actually don't have the time here, but apparently the crunch must have been bad enough for Witcher 3 that they didn't want to repeat it again. But we're a month away from this game releasing, so here we are again. But
yeah,
at least they're getting paid for it. There's the overtime for it. There's the bonus, at least it goes along with it too. So I hope that the families understand. I hope these developers are doing okay. Keep pushing through, guys. Don't worry, that game is almost here, almost released. A few more bugs to get through, and we should hopefully have a good top tier game from CD Projekt Red in another month or so. But enough about that. Let's hop into our next story here. And of course, we were talking about Apex Legends this time. So, Kyle, let's talk a little bit about this one here. So, Apex Legends crossplay beta kicks off on October 6th alongside the new LTM. So, go ahead, Kyle. What is going on with Apex Legends?
The promised crossplay for Apex Legends is coming rather soon, and you can participate in the beta for the feature. You'll be able to participate in the Apex Legends crossplay beta October 6th through Origin for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. The feature will be enabled by default and will allow you to group up with players on other platforms. You will also be able to use voice chat. Cross progression will not be part of this update. How it will work is players on PS4 and Xbox One will be auto matches, while those on the PC will remain together due to configurations. But if there is a group of both PC and console players, the group will squad up on the PC servers. If you aren't interested in crossplay, it can be disabled in the settings menu. However, queue times can get very, very long, according to Respawn Entertainment. Crossplay support for Steam will come at a later date. With the update, Respawn will also bring the limited time mode Flashpoint to the game via the collection event Aftermarket. This mode features flashpoints dotted around the towns in Kings Canyon, and these regenerate your health and shields over time. Healing items do not spawn in this mode, so flashpoints will also help you stay alive. These zones will produce massive, multiple squad fights that bring the feeling of a team deathmatch to the game. Additionally, the circle in the mode follows always be closing rules and will always close on the flashpoint. Also, instead of medkits, you will craft Phoenix kits at crafting replicators. The Aftermarket Collection event brings another set of 24 themed limited time cosmetics to Apex Legends. All 24 items will be available through direct purchase and in event Apex packs for the entire duration of the event. Each event pack will come with one event item and 2 non-event items. And hopefully there's not as much chaos as there was with that damn crow hatchet.
One can only hope on that one. But I think the big thing to take away with this, of course, is that we've got another big title that is now implementing crossplay into it. And it's been a long time coming. But of course, with the changes now to, EA games being on Steam, that's going to lend in, of course, to the problems for crossplay, even just on PC in general. So it might take a little bit more time than until, we actually see the Steam support there anyway. So that's cool.
I don't know. I could see some players getting salty about how the crossplay works. That if you're with PC players, you're gonna get pitted against only other PC players. Like if you're a console player teamed up with a PC player.
Right.
So
Well, there's that possibility, but look at how the crossplay works for Warzone as an example. I think they've actually got it down pretty well that you can have a nice mix of people playing together, but
See, and that's what
it's
I'm saying
yeah.
is if you're gonna do crossplay, make it true crossplay.
No, I agree. I agree. I think they should truly make it true crossplay, but I think at least what we're getting now is a good start, and we'll just have more evolution on it as time goes on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would hope so. And it is nice to see more games coming to the forefront and saying, "Hey, let's do it across all
That
systems.
is,
Let's
mhm.
not, pigeonhole people that bought it on Xbox and, not allow them to play with their friends on PlayStation. Because I mean, you're going to sell more copies if you allow people to play across consoles.
Yeah,
It's just a
exactly.
matter of fact.
Exactly, because then, yeah, exactly as you said, you don't have to go and spend the money on a whole other console to play this game with your friends. You don't have to go
Hmm.
and, it's like it's a $50
Buy the
purchase
game
for a game.
over
Well, yeah,
again.
yeah, but at least the bonus is Apex Legends is free, so
Right,
that's another
right.
thing at least that you can go ahead and cross off the list there and take with you. So cool stuff out of that one. Now we carry on. We're almost done here on the stories, folks, so bear with us. We're going to go ahead and talk about another fun one, especially as it relates to EA. We're back to talking about EA Play, and we actually got an official release date here. So, EA Play joins Xbox Game Pass Ultimate on November 10th. The launch coincides with the release of the Xbox Series S and X. So, this article comes to us from Engadget. Uh, excuse me. We already knew that Microsoft was adding EA Play as a free perk for Game Pass subscribers. Today, however, the Xbox team has revealed exactly when members will be able to access the service on different platforms. If you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, the service, which normally costs $4.99 per month on console, will be available on Xbox hardware from November 10th. Yep, that's the same day that both the Xbox Series S and X launch. PC owners with Ultimate or the PC-specific versions of Xbox Game Pass will then have access beginning in December, Microsoft confirmed. Microsoft has also reiterated that some of the best EA Play games will also be available to stream via xCloud on Android devices. The company hasn't revealed exactly which titles will be supported, though. Regardless, EA Play's inclusion will make Game Pass an even more tantalizing deal. If you need a refresher, Game Pass Ultimate now includes the console and PC versions of the subscription service, which are functionally similar but have slightly different libraries, Xbox Live Gold, another subscription required to play console games online, xCloud game streaming, and the basic version of EA Play, for $14.99 a month. Wow. I mean,
That's a value.
it is. I mean, we talked about that, being such a great deal and that Game Pass is actually being lined up to actually be the top tier, subscription model for playing video games at least. I mean, it's console specific, of course, but I think it's a pretty good deal for us to have as, Xbox owners. And the fact
Oh
too
yeah.
that day one, that when the Series S and X launch, it's going to be there, I think even opens up the library that much more for games you can play on your Series X and your Series S, especially if the up conversion and scaling makes some of these older games through EA Play look that much better too. Like, I can't wait to actually see what it's going to be like when I have my Series X hooked up, and like what Titanfall 1 or Titanfall 2 will look like in 4K, at least upscaled 4K on my TV. I'm really excited to
Well,
see that.
and I'm not much of a sports game fan, but I have to say the $15 a month for Ultimate Game Pass,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a Madden fan, if you're a FIFA fan, holy crap. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
that's $15 a month to pay for a game or to play a game that you're probably only going to play for what, 4 months anyway. That's $60, the cost of the game,
Yeah,
you know.
which
And then
is
you have access to all the other games too, Battlefield. They've got like the Plants vs Zombies games on there.
mm-hmm.
And if you really, really want to hate yourself, I think Anthem's on there.
But hey, it's all that's okay. Maybe Anthem is actually all right. We'll play that instead of Marvel's Avengers. Okay.
Yeah. I I don't know. I'm just saying, you have a variety of stuff to play.
Right, and I think that at least it's awesome. I just hope it's not too much variety that kind of like kind
Yeah.
of wears people down a bit. But I do like though the inclusion of such. My thought though on this now that we've got it is that the $15 price, I think, is not going to stay $15 for very long. I think you're going to see this
That's kind of what
probably
I'm
for
afraid of.
about. I think you're going to see this probably about 6 months, maybe a year. And so when they come out with like, once we hit the anniversary of the Series X and S launch in November of next year, or at least leading up to it, we're going to see a price change. And I bet you it's at least going to be $5 more. So we're going to be talking about $19.99 a month for all of this, which in reality, even a $5 increase, I think, on this is still a good deal. I think for what you get out of it, it's still a very, very good deal. So I'm really excited for this. I think this is going to be a great addition. I'm glad that it drops the day the Series S and X come out too. And I'm really excited to play Titanfall in 4K. So we'll be looking forward to that one for sure. But Kyle, I'm going to let you close us out here tonight on this one. You actually have a fun story here to end us on tonight. And I got to say, I saw the video for this. I swear to God, it's like basically become the new Doom. Like, can this run Doom? It's like, no, now instead, can it run Skyrim? So Kyle, talk to us here about this article from IGN about this fan who got Skyrim to run on a keyboard's tiny display screen.
The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim has been playable on many formats, but a fan has managed something new by getting the game to run on their keyboard's tiny display screen. Courtesy of Reddit's Mr. Murdoch, you can see how the iconic opening scene of Skyrim looks when rendered in monochrome on a keyboard's OLED screen. Mr. Murdoch used a SteelSeries Apex 7 TKL keyboard to achieve the feat, which comes fitted with a small OLED display that can be modified using the SteelSeries Engine app. Mr. Murdoch added in a reply that the game itself is running on a connected computer using a script from GitHub that mirrors the user's desktop screen to the keyboard's OLED display to achieve the effect. Skyrim running natively on a keyboard seems absurd, of course, but given Bethesda's penchant for ports, never say never. Bethesda boss Todd Howard famously said in 2018 that if fans want the studio to stop releasing Skyrim ports, they should stop buying them. In other Bethesda news, ZeniMax Media was recently acquired by Microsoft, and of course we know the whole story about how actually Doom just launched yesterday on Game Pass.
Yes, it did.
But the real question is this more impressive? That the one thing I don't know if we reported on it last month, but is it more impressive that a fan who got Doom to run on a pregnancy test?
Dude, I swear, like, Doom is just gonna get us everywhere. Like, Doom can be installed on anything. You're talking Skyrim now, of course, too. I mean, when are we gonna see, like, Skyrim running on a TI-84 calculator here at some point? I feel like we're at that point now that we're gonna see something like that too. Or, maybe Skyrim will be the next thing on the pregnancy test. Maybe that's the next big thing we'll see too. It's
I remember in high school, my senior year of high school, the big thing was getting Final Fantasy on your TI-84.
Yeah, and I had a friend back in elementary school who had one of those like first TI-80 calculators, the actual graphing ones, and he had some sort of weird ROM for Pokemon on there. But the only thing you could do is just play a Pidgey against a Pidgey, and that was it. You couldn't do anything else. But it was still part Pokemon playing on there, and it was kind of cool to see. But
right.
I think the power has gotten up there so much that we're going to see more of these silly little ports, more of this back and forth on things, and just, God, Skyrim will just not die. We're going to see an Xbox Series X enhanced Skyrim before Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
It's gonna somehow happen. Don't doubt it. Don't doubt it.
God, I swear. We're going to suffer with Skyrim forever. Doom is cool. I think Doom's funny, but I think Skyrim is just one of those ones that needs to be just pushed aside, just left out.
Todd Howard actually has a personalized achievement for 1,000 gamer score.
What? Wait, what? What's it actually?
Yeah, it was sent to him after he received a Lifetime Achievement Award, and he asked a rep from Xbox how much gamer score the Lifetime Achievement Award was worth, just as a joke. And a few months later, he received a link to a game that only he could download, that once he ran the title, it gave him 1,000 gamer score for a lifetime achievement in gaming.
Yeah, I see that here. Yeah, so So here's what the article says that I found. This is from Destructoid. It says, however, it ends on a cute story about GDC 2016 where Howard was given a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's worth hearing straight from the horse's mouth, so here's the anecdote in full. At Bethesda, we've been lucky enough to create games we love and have an audience who loves them as much as we do. I've personally been humbled by the many industry honors I've received as they belong to the entire studio. But one has always stood out for me as a special reason. When I received the Lifetime Achievement Award at GDC, I joked to my acceptance, I wonder how many achievement points this one is worth. At the end of the ceremony, some good friends from Microsoft congratulated me and said they'd find out. A few months later, I was given a code to a game they had created named after me and locked to my account. When ran, it unlocks a single achievement. Lifetime 1,000 points. It still sits in my list when I check, and I smile every time. So they made him a specific game to be able to go ahead and earn that achievement and just keep that with him, which that's, I think for someone in the industry as long as he's been, that's a neat little thing, especially.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So that's it for stories this week, everybody. Kyle, I really don't think there was anything else that happened, or unless we missed something. I honestly don't remember, though, but I think that was everything. I think the one story that really stole the show this week was we got Steve in Minecraft.
Yeah.
And Super Smash Brothers, yeah. And so,
of
course...
That is an odd one.
Of course, I had to celebrate here. I don't know if you saw it or not, by breaking out the TNT coffee mug here. And
I did.
enjoy my
see
coffee.
That.
Yeah, because I knew this was going to be
I'm thinking I might
episode.
have to pick up the new character pass for Smash.
Like I said,
just to see how he plays.
I don't have the others. I don't have any of the others, but I like this
I don't
one.
either, but yeah, I might need to get this one.
Yeah, I think this one's something I'm going to be really excited to get with the kids. But, man, yeah, I think that was really the funniest one that stole it for this week, too, especially. So, with all of that said, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into this week's live stream. Don't forget, of course, to check us out with our podcast. Really, the biggest thing that we do here, besides, of course, the news. Anchor.fm/the-NPCs-podcast is the home for our podcast. We got links to all the different platforms we're on. So if you really like listening to us here, you're going to love listening to our podcast where we talk about what we're playing for the week. And we always have a topic going on. So this last week, of course, we talked about the top Xbox One games. Previous week, we talked about the top PlayStation 4 games, just because we are on that point to roll over to the 9th console generation here in just about a month. So go and listen to those. And then, of course, make sure that if you are watching us on Facebook, you're hitting that like button. If you're watching us on Twitch, make sure to hit that follow button. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button there. And, of course, we'll be back next Friday with more news, more chaos, more jokes, and, well, I guess being more locked in a house because, the pandemic is still going on. So thanks, everybody. We'll catch you all later.
Have a good one.